Hello, today we are gonna shadow about the power of crying. Speaking to about crying, when was the last time you cried? Okay, let's start our shadowing. Hello, this is 6 Minutes English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil and I'm Sam. Do you cry easily, Sam? I mean, when was the last time you cried? Let me think. Last week, watching a movie, probably. I was watching a really dramatic film, and in one sense, the heroine gets separated from her children. I just burst out crying. How about you, Neil? When was the last time you cried? Oh man, don't cry, Sam. Oh, come on, Neil. That's a bit stereotypical, isn't it? The idea that men don't show their emotions and women cry all the time. Well, that's an interesting point, Sam, because in today's program, we discussing crying. We'll be investigating the reasons why we cry and looking at some of the difference between men and women and between crying in public and in private. And of course, we'll be learning some related vocabularies along the way. I guess it's kind of true that women do cry more than men. People often think crying is only about painful feeling, but we also cry to show joy and when we are moved by something beautiful, like music or a painting. So maybe women are just more in touch with their feelings. That's why they cry more. Well, actually, Sam, that brings me to our quick questions. According to a study from 2017 conducted in the UK, on average, how many times a year do women cry? Essence A, 52, B, 72, or C, 102? It's a tricky question, Snail. I mean, there are so many different reasons why people cry, and what makes me cry might make someone else laugh. I think some of my female friends probably cry around once a week, so I guess the answer is A, 52. Okay, Sam will find out later if we are right. Now, while it may be true that men cry less often, it also seems that they feel less embarrassed about crying in public. This may be because of the differences in how men and women think. The others will view their public displays of emotion. Here's BBC Radio 4 Women's Hours speaking to therapist Joanna Cross about the issue of crying at work. Let's take the workplace. If you got somebody who seems to cry regularly, I think that's not helpful for individual because then if they cry over something that really is important to them, they might not take it so seriously if it get a label, but I do think crying is often a build-up of frustrations and dealt with situations in a bit of a final straw movement. So people who regularly cry at work risk not being taken seriously, not being treated as deserving attention or respect, and they might even get a label, become thought of having particular character, whether that's true or not. Here's Jonah Cross again. You build up your resentments, your lack of boundaries, not being able to say no, and then somebody says, "Can you go and make a cup of tea?" and you suddenly find yourself weeping. And everybody says, "What's wrong with her?" And but actually, there's often a backlog of situations. So, a common reason for crying at work seems to be a build-up of resentments, feelings of anger when you think you have been treated unfairly or have been forced to accept something you don't like. When left undealt with, these feelings can create a backlog and accumulations of issues that you should have dealt with before but didn't. Right, and then, like John says, someone asks you to do something very simple and easy, like make a cup of tea, and you start weeping. Another word for crying. That's a good example of a final straw movement, a term which comes from the expressions. The straw that broke the camel's back. The final straw means a further problem which itself might be insignificant but which finally makes you want to give up. I hope this program won't be the final straw for us, Sam. I doubt it. No, the only time I cry at work is when you used to bring in your onion sandwich for lunch. In fact, I can feel tears rolling down my cheeks right now. So that counts on one of your crimes, Sam. Remember, I asked you on average how many times a year women in the UK cry, and you said, I said 52. Well, don't cry. When I tell you that you were wrong, the actual answer is 72 times a year, which on average is more than men, but less than parents of newborn babies, both mother and fathers. They cry almost as much as their babies. Today we've been talking about crying or weeping, as it's sometimes called. People who often cry at work risk not being taken seriously, not treated as deserving of attention or respect. This means they might get a label, becoming known as someone with a particular kind of personality, even though that may not be true. But crying is also a healthy way of expressing emotion. It can help deal with resentments, feelings of anger that you have been treated unfairly. If we don't deal with these feelings in some way, they can grow into a backlog and accumulations of unresolved issues that you now need to deal with. And if you don't with them, you might become a ticking bomb waiting to explode. Then anything someone say to you can become final straw, the last small problem which makes you want to give up and maybe start crying. What's the matter, Niels? Was it something I said? No, Sam, I'm crying because it's the end of the program. Oh, don't worry, we'll be back soon for another sections of 6 minutes English. But bye for now. Bye.